The ocean of consciousness. What in the world do I mean by that? The ocean of consciousness. One day, I was sitting on the beach, looking at the ocean, marveling at the vast spaciousness in all directions, this beautiful expression that we call ocean, extending itself all the way to the horizon and beyond. And as I'm witnessing this magnificent phenomenon that we call ocean, sitting there on the beach, I then started to notice the sound of the waves crashing on the shore, and my attention started to become more focused, what was closest to me, the waves. And as I was noticing the waves, I noticed that each of them had a particular way that they would rise up, have a particular shape, particular height, width, duration, and then they would complete themselves. And I was watching one after the other, and then I started to realize I was experiencing these waves as some sort of separate things, that they were these unique things. Each one had its own characteristics, and I realized I had, with my shift in attention, was now experiencing them as separate, these separate things. And something shifted, and I realized, oh, actually, these separate things that I'm focusing on are actually still the ocean. There's only the ocean. It was always the ocean, which has this ability to uniquely express itself as these things, this phenomenon called wave. And it's easy to get so narrowly focused on them that they seem to be these separate things that are no longer expressions of the ocean. And in that shift, I realized, oh, it's always ocean. And what opened for me in that moment was a realization that that's how we normally experience reality. Our physical reality, we experience it from the perspective of being focused on the separate things. Each thing separate. There's me and not me, self and other, separation. That perspective. And in that moment, what opened for me was a realization that all of those separate things are actually like waves of the ocean. We could playfully say the waves of consciousness, this ocean of consciousness. In my previous life, I was involved in electromagnetic waves, how you transmit and receive information on electromagnetic waves. I worked in receivers and transmitters. And everything in reality is actually that. All of the physical reality is vibrations, temporary waves of various frequencies. And in that moment, as I left the beach and continued into that day and the next several days, it continued for quite a while, I was letting myself play with reframing everything that I was experiencing and seeing and hearing and tasting and touching from the perspective that this is all the ocean of consciousness, expressing itself as that person, expressing itself as that tree, expressing itself as that cloud, expressing itself as that wind, expressing itself as this emotion, this thought, this sensation. I started to, as a practice, reframe the perspective that I was experiencing reality from, and I started to notice what a difference that made in experiencing reality as one elegant wholeness expressing itself in myriad unique ways, beginnings, durations, and completions. Everything of this vibrational physical realm is of wave nature. Every wave has a beginning, a duration, and then a completion. Every sound, every word I'm speaking is temporary. No matter how long I try to extend the word, it will be temporary. Every word I'm speaking, temporary. Every in-breath, notice your breath. Temporary. Each out-breath. Temporary. But notice how the awareness that you are, that's aware of the sound of my voice, aware of your breath, the awareness that you are, notice, it doesn't have temporary nature. It just continues to be inherently aware without any effort. And that can be experienced by shifting our attention from the perspective of separation into the perspective of wholeness. All of this one exquisite, wild, lovely wholeness, rising and falling, expressing itself uniquely, moment to moment to moment. And there's a chance to start experiencing it from the perspective that it's always the ocean of consciousness in every moment, every breath, every experience. And we are unique waves of that ocean of consciousness. Everyone a unique wave. Every tree, every animal, every forest, every river, every mountain, desert, flower, insect, breath. One absolute ocean of consciousness. Resting back into the stillness of being, pure awareness. Notice the nature of this awareness that you are. See, can you find an edge to the awareness? Notice as you expand out, the awareness that you are doesn't have an edge. Notice it's a subtler dimension of being. It permeates everywhere, all at once. We start to experience that what we are is eternally existing and permeating everywhere, all at once. And this cannot be in any way affected by the vibrational realm, this absolute consciousness that we are, that is our eternal true nature, remains unharmable. No experience we've ever had has altered this awareness that permeates beyond the body. Notice the body is a vibrational point, a location in consciousness. Body. It's a vibrational location. But the awareness that you are, notice, it isn't locked into the location of the body. Notice you can become aware of your awareness beyond your body. The body is a vibrational occurrence. It's temporary. It had a beginning, what we call birth, and will have a duration, what we call life, and then it will have an end, what we call death. Everything that is born will die. Everything in the vibrational realm is wave nature, beginnings, durations, completions. When we get pulled into that separation perspective, there's all kinds of disturbances and suffering that comes from that. There's this part of us that is against the temporariness. I call that part of us the wanter, the part of us that wants to get things in place where they feel safe and secure and keep them that way and do everything it takes to manipulate and control and keep that safety arrangement in place. So that part of us doesn't like the unknown or the uncontrollable. But if we become aware of that and relax out, notice there's a part of us that's aware of that tendency to want to control and manipulate. And there's the part of us that's aware of the breath, aware of whatever sounds or sensations are occurring. And the awareness that we are permeates everywhere all at once. And it turns out, the more you rest back into this awareness, eventually you experience that the awareness that you are is permeating everything. So there really isn't actually any separation. There's just one elegant wholeness of existence, this ocean of consciousness in which we can experience from the perspective of this being an adventure rather than the perspective of when we get pulled into the separation construct, the wanter. We see this reality as a problem to be solved and controlled and manipulated. When we relax back into awareness and notice that awareness permeates everywhere, eventually through our direct experience, we will then realize through our direct experience that what we are, this awareness that we are, permeates everywhere. And that all along, it has always been this ocean of consciousness, this elegant wholeness, wild, lovely, and we can then experience from the perspective of this all being an adventure in which we can wake up to this dynamic play while in the play. The ocean of consciousness. Yes.